Hey, so here's why narcissism appears to be incurable. It's not actually incurable. It's a state of consciousness, a descended state of consciousness. When people become narcissistic, they make a series of choices to descend into their consciousness. The first choice of descension isn't chosen, it's coerced. Everyone chooses this when they grow up in a narcissistic family. They choose to descend into illusion of self. Narcissists choose to descend further to gain some sort of reward. This reward can be material things, illusions, fantasy realities. It's very misguided. But narcissistic consciousness is a choice that is descended into, which means you can ascend out of it. What makes it hard to ascend out of it is the karma that narcissists rack up for themselves. A huge amount of karma. They avoid this karma and these consequences through their supply. There are simultaneously many people on this earth who are very good supply. Narcissistic supply. And what the narcissist does is they transfer their consequences to you, to their supplies. When they do something wrong, they literally give their guilt to their victims. That victim takes on that guilt, and that guilt starts to deteriorate their mental health, their life, their confidence, when that deterioration was always meant for the narcissist. So the avoiding of these consequences may seem nice for narcissists. It may seem like they're doing great and everything's great, but there's a big problem with this, because since they're avoiding the consequences, when those supply aren't there, there's so much consequence. So much consequence. You see, narcissists are very, very mentally ill most of the time. Extremely mentally ill. The only reason they appear not to be is because of their supply. They take the energy of their supply and transfer their mentally ill energy to their supplies. So everything is curable, healable. I'm not going to tell you my story, but I've healed from things that therapists told me would take me years. And I healed from these things in months, on my own. There is a power that exists within you, your ability to heal yourself. That's my karma, right? The choices you make dictate how fast you're able to heal, how well you can achieve things, how easily you can create. Health issues, all health issues, are a lot of the times people receiving karma and companies, how do I say this? Putting labels on it to make money. Creating stories of victimhood. Some people just have bad genes. No. People are receiving karma for their actions. The actions you take deteriorate your body. And then we have all these labels for like health issues, mental health issues. None of that shit matters. None of it matters. It's just a way for people to make money off of karma, right? And it's all about the lack of responsibility in narcissistic consciousness. The narcissist would love to believe that they're just a victim of some horrible health issue, and not that they spent their whole lives harming people, and they're facing the consequences. They love to believe that their victims are just genetically mentally ill, experiencing genetic mental illness, then admit that they broke someone, that they caused it. Right? So all these consequences of narcissism are filtered in society through this lens of victimhood. We're a victim to things that are just beyond our control. No. These are consequences. And since narcissists are constantly evading and avoiding these consequences, they don't even realize how much consequence they're creating. And the further they go, the harder it is for them to come out of it. Because of those consequences. Right? If you finally choose you want to stop harming people, well, they've got like a fucking rack of guilt, shame, terror, everything they've sent out to others coming back at them. So like if you were a narcissist, you wouldn't choose that. Right? They're very selfish. But it's perpetuated by society. Society makes it easy for narcissists, and we make it easy for narcissists when we don't do our inner work. When we allow ourselves to be supply. Sovereignty is your greatest skill on this earth. It's the most important skill. Sovereignty. Dominion over your own energy. Understanding of what is yours and what is not, what you are responsible for and what you are not responsible for. When a narcissist meets a being of sovereignty, they collapse. And the reason why they collapse is that because they're dependent on their victims taking on their consequences. In a healthy world, narcissism wouldn't be easy to get into because there wouldn't be all the rewards for it. But narcissism isn't incurable. It is a consciousness that must be ascended out of. Everyone who is born onto this planet has to abide by conditions that make them a little bit narcissistic. The condition of life within a narcissistic family system is that you must mask, suppress your emotions, believe that you're the problem. That's the first dissension. The second dissension is when you begin to believe that others are the problem and the cause for all of your pain. And then imagine their consciousness is sucked into this like illusion, a fantasy world that is very small-minded, they're very unaware of. And underneath that fantasy is their evil behavior. Evil behavior. Awful things. Because that's what happens when you choose the illusion. You're free game. Well, while you're over here in this, while they're over there in their fantasy realities, they just basically give their soul to entities, energies, demons that want to control them. Like, oh, I'll just be over here in the dream world. You guys do whatever you want with me, as long as you just keep feeding me my illusions. Like, that's what it is. So, yeah. To understand this from a consciousness perspective. It's about karma, consequences. There becomes so many consequences to ascension that they can't ascend. They won't ascend